Hi there, and welcome to the Call to Comics. My name is Aaron, and it's just a really quick video, almost a Batman-centric video here today, because we're going to be looking at a couple of different things that I got at my local Dollarama, and I pretty much put the kibosh on buying anything new because I'm packing things. So even if I'm still here, like my comics and my movies will be on the other side of it'll be another continent. Um, but some things I saw today were just so good I could not pass them up. And by far and large, this is going to be Batman centric. But there's one here that I'm very excited about. I'm going to leave that one for last. But we'll start off with a pretty cool one. Now, this here is the Batman: The Return of Bruce Wayne. So this includes all 6 issues of the miniseries, and there's a sketchbook as well in here. So basically, there was a period in time when Grant Morrison was writing Batman. He did this really cool like Black Glove storyline. Then afterwards, there's this big crossover, and within the crossover, Batman kills Darkseid. Spoiler alert, I guess, right? And dies, and he dies, sort of. He dies, kind of. You know the way superheroes that are really popular, like Batman, die. And we get this weird ass miniseries, which I actually had a lot of fun with. So basically, what happens is he doesn't die so much as I guess, his soul, his ethereal being gets blasted back to the past, gets like knocked back. So we get to see him has like, there's caveman Batman there, and we got like pirate Batman, and there's Batman, and there of course is like a pilgrim Batman. You can see it right there. Uh, the artwork here is done by, let's just see who did the artwork on this miniseries. We have a few people actually. Chris Sprouse worked on this. Ryan Sook, Lee Garbett. Whole ton of people. Anyway, so it's basically it's a 6-part storyline. It's really cool. It's well done. But it is different. It's more like fantasy oriented. He goes in some really different places with it. But the killer part is when Batman was killed off, then Dick Grayson took over, and Damian Wayne was Robin. And it was probably one of the best Batman and Robin runs, as two Batman and Robin working together as partners that we've seen. So people were a little bit disappointed when Bruce Wayne came back. But it's Bruce Wayne. He's got to come back, right? So to go within that line, one of the comics I used to read back in the day that I was pretty much addicted to was the original Robin comic book that came out, the Chuck Dixon Robin series, which had Tom Grummett and Scott Hanna on it. So this was one of the big ones in today. So this one starts out, I think, dealing with a lot of the stuff of the fallout from Nightfall. So basically, what happens in Nightfall is, well, for those that haven't read it, well, I'm going to spoil it for you. Batman gets his back broken, and he has to he has to give the mantle back to somebody else, and he blows everybody's mind because he chooses to give it to a guy named John Paul Valley, who we'd only seen before in a miniseries called Sword of Azrael, with I think it was done by Joe Casali, did at least the artwork for it. So it's a really different storyline, and this is so Robin gets kicked out of the Batcave basically, and he's basically doing his own stuff. So this is actually volume 3, but it's called Robin Solo. So I'm guessing probably 1 and 2 did the first couple of miniseries that they put of Robin, because he had a couple of miniseries before this. I remember one had lenticular hologram. Remember those? Had those lenticular holograms just stuck in the middle of the comic.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, oh, come on. They wouldn't go for a full page hologram like that. No, just put a little tiny one right there. But this one includes some decent stuff. So it's the first 5 issues of Robin, the actual series. We get the first 2 annuals for Robin, and we get his showcase storylines as well. So Showcase 93 was an anthology book, had a bunch of different characters, especially Batman central characters. We got 5 and 6, 11 and 12 in here as well, and it's a great book. It's definitely well done, and it's very kind of glossy. We get the Eclipso issue of Robin right there with Anarchy. Anarchy is probably I would consider Anarchy and the General are probably the Tim Drake Robin's biggest villains. Like people say, what about the guy that killed his mom, some of that? No. Anarchy and the General, because they're around the same age as as Tim Drake Robin at the time. and he kept coming, kept kind of coming back. So there's one of these showcase covers right there. Gorgeous stuff. I'm quite sure who did this one actually. Let's see, is it Perez? It is George Perez. Okay, right on. Rest in peace, Mr. George Perez. Beautiful George Perez cover. I should have known without characters on the cover. Next up is one that I'd wanted to pick up at at one of the local bookstores. Well, not local bookstores, local online bookstores, and Canadian bookstores. But it sold out because somebody went and sniped it. So I was like really pissed, but I was able to grab it actually at for way less than I would have got at the store. And this is Shadow the Bat Volume 2. So I used to collect like Batman comics. I used to collect comics a lot back in the day. I had long boxes and long boxes of comics. My cousin Raj collected Batman around this period of time too, I'm pretty sure. And he just collected Batman. So he collected all the Batman comics. So anything that had the Batman name on it, those are the ones he collected. Shadow the Bat was my favorite of the Batman comics. A close second was Legends of the Dark Knight. Because Legends of the Dark Knight could go in any period of Batman. And you could pretty much just see any era of Batman at all, like when he got started, him getting addicted to drugs. I'm not joking. That's a storyline. But this is definitely like, people say like 90s era, and they say like 90s era is kind of like a bad thing, but not in this case. This is some great stuff. Alan Grant and Brett Blevins did a lot of work on this here. Not all of it. There's different artists in here as well. Brett Blevins did a lot of work on New Mutants as well, so you got a good stuff there. But you can see some of his kind of his cooler artwork. That's his Scarecrow, which I really dig. And he did these really beautiful covers. He was the antithesis of the other like artists around at the time, which was Kelly Jones, who did these horrible covers and even worse interiors. But we have one here that's kind of a stylized looking. Oh God, I wish I could find it. Where's it at? And I just love the look of it. I want to see if this is the one right here. It's a really weird storyline too, because basically we get this character named Joe Public, and he's it listens right here. So, a high school gym teacher becomes the city's latest protector, taking on the costume persona of Joe Public. There's a lot more he must learn from the world's greatest detective. That's a cool storyline. There's also a storyline here. There's some crazy ones anyway, so definitely worth checking out. It has issues 13 to 23 of Shadow of the Bat. Unfortunately, 24 was a conclusion of a storyline. So eventually, one of these days, I'll find volume 3, I guess. And that's Shadow of the Bat Annual number 1. So you're getting some really great stuff here. No real big features in the background, just like, literally as a ends on a cliffhanger. So that's the thing. If I can find issue 24, then I wanted to do this. But so we got artists here. We got like Brett Blevins, Vince Giordano, Norm Brayfogle was a really big Batman artist back in the day. Dick Giordano's in this. Joe Staton, Trevor Von Eden does some really interesting artwork here as well. All right, we got one more, and it's one of the kind of the slightly newer ones, which surprised me that was there, because this one, when did this one come out? I'm kind of curious, because this is a Tom King Batman one. Or does it just seem newer? Oh no, so it came in a few years back. But I remember this came out like it was yesterday. And this is volume 7 of a Tom King's run on Batman. And that is The Wedding. Yes, the infamous Wedding. So the whole big wedding storyline that was done, Batman is going to marry Catwoman, or is he? And how's it going to turn out? The Joker as a prominent role in this, like a really prominent role. I want to see a really cool shot of Booster Gold, by the way. I'm a huge Booster Gold fan. Look at that picture of Booster Gold. That's amazing. The artwork on this is incredible. Overall, like the art on this is done by, well, I'm going to guess by Mikel Janin and Tony S. Daniels. This is on the cover. And I got one here that's not Batman related, but hopefully you stayed this long to wait for this one, because this is a big one. So back in the day, there were these things called archives. There's DC archives, and there's still DC archives, Marvel Masterworks, that type of thing. But one of my favorite characters was the Spirit, and Spirit was there was a movie. Actually, not the new one. Forget about that one. Don't even look at that one. There was a Sam Jones movie back in the 80s, early 90s, I think. It was a TV movie that did a much more like real adaptation of the comic strip. But it was a comic strip. It was created by Will Eisner. He did a lot of it. There's a lot of ghostwriters and ghost pencilers and stuff over the years because Will Eisner went to war, and there's times when he back then where people would you you were the creator, so your name would have to go on it because people would be scared that there'd be other somebody else would do it. So these here normally cost around here in Canada $82 without tax. So around $90 altogether for one of these here. So I got one of these for under $4 yesterday, and that is Will Eisner's Spirits Archive Volume 8. I already have one volume which I picked up for $20 around a couple months ago. But this is from January 2nd to June 25th, 1944. Now, just remember that. So you can see get on here. Now, I want to tell you, before I show you some of the artwork in here, it was another time. So some of the art here is uniquely of its time, of its era. There's the spirit right there. Now, what's neat is this just doesn't include those stories, but in addition to 200 pages of classic spirit adventures, this volume contains a portfolio of Will Eisner's art produced during his Army years. So this is the second one that I've had that has some of the Army years work. I've had another one that had like some of the Army years work as well. Not this one here, but a different one, a different work. So there's things like this. So by fireball pilots like Joe, sidearms are ignored, as you know. After years of neglect, that caused rust to collect. That dang thing is needed. Oh, whoa. So, take care of your gun, and it's got a don't be a dope, care for your sidearms. Shows a guy pointing a gun at his face. That's the thing. He did a comic strip for the there, and apparently it was rejected as being too controversial at the time. So it was called General Poop. I'm even joking. That's not there, but we get like the normal spirit stuff. And when you look at this, remember these here are pages that were taken from, like, it was a comic strip. This wasn't like a comic book. This was a comic. This was what you'd open up your local like newspaper, and in the comic book section, and you get this. I'm trying to not go at the controversial stuff. So you get stuff like this here. And the spirit was always well drawn. It played with different types of stories, like noir stuff. It did comedy. It did science fiction. It just really played with the tropes and the genre. You got some really good stuff here. As you can see, like some stuff is definitely of its time and wouldn't like pass the muster today. But it's just the way that drawings were done, unfortunately, back then. I love this one here, the Cellini dagger from 1944. It's just like classic, but kind of a cool art, and it goes right into the back there. There's not like a lot when it comes to descriptions. This is by DC, by the way. DC put these out. So there's a DC archive editions. I got a few of these here actually, and if you look underneath, probably not gonna be much because it's DC. Yeah, so this is what DC does, which really peeves me. So it's not bad. Like you can see the spirit, Will Eisner's the spirit, like it's indented into the book. So DC does this with all their like classic omnibuses too, except they're in black. So you get like Superman or Batman, and it's just indented in black. You can barely see it. Like camera, most of the time, unless you're really put up to the screen, doesn't capture it. So meanwhile, Marvel's got this like really cool looking like logos on the there, and like the say for Captain America, like Captain America like shield on the back. DC has this barely seeable like imprint thing that they think looks classy, and it doesn't. It pisses people off to no end. They put in such great work now too. Like their omnibuses in the last couple of years have like become incredible. They put out such great stuff. But my God, DC, change the interior, or if tired of the imprint, put something out, put some art there. Like they do it for the newer stuff. You get like the Jeff Johns, like Green Lantern. You get some beautiful artwork on the inside. But their earlier stuff and their archives and their like bronze, silver, golden age stuff always has that imprint, and it always pisses me off. Anyway, My name is Aaron. Thank you so much for joining me today here in the Color Comics. Check out your local shops because there's some really cool stuff out there that that may surprise you.